Welcome to Dakota Preparedness. In this video, we'll discuss a question that was asked by a woman on a social media group that I belong to, and that is, when will SHTF happen? And I'm going to address that. First of all, let me give the definition of SHTF. It actually stands for shit hits the fan. I call it sugar hits the fan. Now, one of the misnomers about projecting what's going to happen in the future, which is always fuzzy at the best, is that a misnomer within the community that is that things are going to apply evenly to everyone, everywhere. And this is definitely a misnomer. It will be very uneven. There will be places where people are not affected that much, and other places where it would be a catastrophe. Indeed, I suspect that there will be a few people that will even profit from it. So SHTF is an event that will definitely surprise you, that will cause you a great deal of anguish, but when it's all over, your world will be the same or something similar. Now, there's another term, end of the world as we know it, that connotates that your world would be very different. Now, the good news is there will be a world. Now, let's use the example of the Great American Depression from the 1930s. I know from speaking to an elderly man when I was a young man that he became employed by electric utility, and electric utilities just boomed through the 1930s. There was a tremendous demand for installing electricity in homes and businesses. He was well paid, he remained employed, and indeed, because of low prices, he and his family lived extremely well. Another example, I talked to a second elderly fellow when I was young, and he said that it was extremely hard to join the United States military in the 1930s, but he was fortunate enough to be able to join the U.S. Army and be part of the coastal artillery, and once again his family just prospered. But there were millions of people adversely affected by the Great American Depression of the 1930s, and their world changed, and they were mentally and psychologically scarred, many of them, for the rest of their lives. So SHTF, sugar hit the fan, will be applied unevenly. So let's directly address the question, when will SHTF happen? Well, for many people, it's already begun. With the inflation that we've seen the last few years, people on fixed income, retired people, many of them are striving to keep their heads above water. They're having to constantly cut back on their standard of living. For them, sugar has hit the fan. Now, in other cases, I know of younger people who are both the husband and wife making great salaries, and they're doing well. So sugar has not hit the fan for them, but just hold on for the next 6 or 7 years. Their world as they know it will change. Let's put a framework to what can happen in a disaster. I think there's 5 phases. From up to 3 days, I would call a class 1. And what would trigger a type of event which would dramatically affect you for up to 3 days? Well, we're all familiar with them. A blizzard, a snowstorm, a thunderstorm, a rainstorm that causes flooding. Most of us have experienced them numerous times. Now, let's step it up to a class 2. That would be from 3 days to 3 weeks. Well, there you would have a regular hurricane. I know of a case where there was a cyber attack that disrupted a gasoline distribution company, which infected an entire region of the country, and that lasted for 3 weeks. Let's step it up to a class 3. This is from 3 weeks to 3 months. Now we're talking a Katrina type hurricane. We're talking about a major cyber attack. We're talking some significant outages of gasoline, of electricity. The fourth class is 3 months to 12 months. Now, something has seriously gone sideways for this. This is probably a major state-sponsored cyber attack affecting many industries and companies and have widespread impact. It could be a pandemic with a significant mortality rate. It could be an electric magnetic pulse, either man-made or from nature. And then finally, we have a class 5 event. And this is over a year. Now we're talking about the end of the world as we know it. If it's going to affect over a year, it will probably be quite protracted, and it will be part of a significant event for the rest of your life. Even after recovery, we could have a nuclear war here. Once again, a major cyber attack, a major pandemic. And indeed here, I would submit people have to become prepsteaders. They're going to have to start growing their own food. And now I hope that we wiggle through all of this, that society does. Society has proven adept at making progress and overcoming some of the most severest challenges. But there's an awful lot going on. We've got Putin threatening to set the world on fire on a daily basis. Kim Jong-un in North Korea threatening to set America on fire on a weekly basis. We've got Xi Jinping threatening to invade Taiwan, which will surely result in a World War III. We have many horrendous obstacles that we need to navigate through, and society needs to navigate. And to say nothing of a financial collapse. With $33 trillion in debt, it's all that at some point the dollar will collapse. And that will be an earth-shaking event. And that's why I suggest long-term emergency preparedness, to buffer yourself against the shockwaves of something that significant. That's why I suggest that you prepare, that you have water, food, medical supplies, a way to maintain your personal security, have shelter and appropriate clothing. Now, if you review my past history of Dakota preparedness, you'll find many videos that are very helpful. If you found this video helpful, please click like and subscribe. It'll help the channel and it'll help the community. Be prepared.